This is New Forest Tour Red, Bertie.
Hello, this is New Forest Tour Red, Bertie.
Oh!
Yeah, it is a noisy one.
You're right, old fat.
Oh God, it sounds funny.
That's alright. Do you think it won't break down?
It's got 821.
I think that's why they didn't want to use this at the start.
And we're off. What a bit man.
That was well funny, it sounded.
Jolly well.
Green Route didn't stop.
Oh, yeah, we've got to do
Well, no one wanted to get on.
He told us when he was going. He'd...
You have to speak to Brandon later.
Yeah.
Welcome on board the New Forest Tour Red Route, roving around the wild west of the New Forest National Park. On this tour you'll hear tales of smugglers, snake catchers, and other quirky characters who lived in this part of the forest. The next main stop will be in the magical village of Burley, but if you'd like to get off along the way, just ring the bell. Please stay seated and keep your arms well inside the vehicle when we're moving. Get ready to enjoy the ride.
Watch the bushes, boys.
Wonder what that noise was when the engine started.
That sounded like the family house.
Lyndhurst is the place where much of the official forest business is carried out. The Voudouras Court, one of the oldest courts in the country, meets here at the Queen's house and oversees the management of the free roaming animals, like the New Forest ponies we'll see on our journey today. Lyndhurst is also the place where Alice Hargreaves lived and is buried. She is widely regarded as being the inspiration for Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. She grew up in Oxford before moving to the forest. Alice came to a fork in the road. "Which road do I take?" she asked. "Where do you want to go?" responded the Cheshire Cat. "I don't know," Alice answered. "Then," said the cat, "it doesn't matter." Alice lived at Cuffnell's house, and you can visit the family tomb in the churchyard of St. Michael's and All Angels. A memorial inside the church commemorates two of her sons killed in the First World War.
Makes a different noise now, it makes.
Coming up on your right is the picturesque Swan Green, overlooked by a row of thatched cottages. Around the 1840s, 3 local cattle dealers started pony sales and a fair on Swan Green. This continued as an annual event, with the sale being held in the yard of the White Swan pub. The event eventually outgrew this area and moved first to the old racecourse in Lyndhurst, and then to its current site at Bewley Road, which you can see from the New Forest Tour Green Route. This next section of the tour is on a fairly quick road and can be quite windy. It's on the other side of the road, not far from here. Runs the Rhinefield Ornamental Drive, which winds its way to Brockenhurst. The road is lined with some of the biggest trees in the whole of England, including 2 giant sequoia trees. These tree titans are over 44 meters tall, or 10 times the height of this double-decker. The seeds for these trees were brought here from California. Another famous tree near here is the huge Nightwood oak, which is the largest oak in the New Forest, and we think around 600 years old. It measures 7.4 meters around its trunk. Like most of the oldest New Forest trees, it's a pollard. This means that when the tree was young, someone cut off its head. Perhaps this is how it got its name, like the knights of old. Far from killing the tree, this encouraged new shoots out of the reach of grazing animals. This was common practice in the past, when other people would come back and cut the new growth for firewood. pictures, and you can find the naked man, a gnarled stump of a once majestic oak. Legend tells that it was the place where the dead or dying bodies of criminals were hung for travellers to see. A more pleasant story was that it was hit by lightning, and for many years the bare tree looked like a naked man with his arms outstretched. Holmesley opened in 1847. It was an important stopping place on the new Southampton to Dorchester Railway. The railway was promoted by Charles Castleman. It became known as Castleman's Corkscrew because of the winding route it had to take through the difficult terrain. It was the first railway line to pass through the New Forest, but it became less important once the new line to rapidly growing Bournemouth was completed in 1888. It closed in the 1960s. Much of it has become a lovely route for walkers, cyclists, and horse riders.
It's even that noisy on the 5A.
We will shortly be passing under a low bridge. Please remain seated. After this, we pass the old station house at Holmesley.
No bridge! At least we actually got on the first one.
Yeah, that's good.
This will get us back just before the swap.
Yeah, so we'll go for that.
arriving in Burley. Follow your nose to Burley Fudge Shop, an artisan producer of handmade fudge and confectionery. Have a taste of unusual flavors like Malteser fudge, as well as traditional English clotted cream fudge, all made to their own recipe. Or you can take a short stroll down Pound Lane to the New Forest Cider and Tea Rooms. Burley has a bit of a reputation for magic and witchcraft. It's been the haunt of dragons and famous witches such as Sybil, who would walk the village with a black cloak and a jackdaw on her shoulder. Get off at Burley for a touch of magic. You can also change here onto the New Forest Tour Blue Route, heading for the coast, for tales of shipwrecks, smugglers and sea shanties. Your ticket is valid on all 3 routes.
Yeah, that'll be the next stage one.
If you would like to pick up some leaflets or find out more about the area, pop into Shappan Stores, a local information point, which also stocks locally sourced New Forest Mark products.
One though. Let's say all got on blue and must have been an open top. Who it must? I reckon they all got on the blue one. So we would have been first, we would. Normally there's always people getting on here, normally. Is that the first time we've been burned in? No, one time we did. Yeah. Here's Queen's Head here. It's a chef and brewer.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that'll be where we go for lunch and we get the blue route? Yeah, I'm sure the blue route goes past some really no pretty jumps. This is where you got stung by wasps. Yeah.
didn't break down this one, did it?
There are around 5,500 ponies roaming free in the forest, including some in the streets of places like Burley. See if you can spot the brand marks, which show who owns the pony, or the different tail clippings, which indicate the part of the forest in which the pony's owner lives. They are joined by as many cattle, a couple of hundred donkeys and sheep, and in the autumn, pigs. Feeding and petting forest animals only encourages them to behave badly, pestering people and hanging around busy roads, car parks and built-up areas. The animals are a great sight, wandering through the sleepy villages, but they are best getting their food from the forest.
No one wanted to get on from Burnley. Oh yeah, unless it's because they're at Scotland. Same bus we called 5 Ayers, right? Yes.
Park up ahead on the right is called Smugglers Road. Smugglers' tracks used to run through this area, and the forest itself was a favourite and secret way to run booty from the coastal areas inland. The notorious Warren family, brothers John, Peter and their sister Lovey, lived at Crow Hill Top, about half a mile further along this road. Legend has it that when the revenue men were abroad in the forest, Lovey would parade across Veerley Hill wearing a red cloak as a warning to smugglers on the coast to avoid the area. At night, smugglers living at a cottage on the hill would hoist a lantern up a nearby oak tree to give the warning signal.
I think it's just checking passengers where he wanted to get off, maybe. These seats, I think, for this spit on me. Just to this bit, enjoy this. This bus is on the 1C the other day, and it was like this, an open top. Yeah. Medroute had the spare one. But if we've got on if it was 182, God, yeah, we would have. That is an open top. turn.
Our next stop is Ringwood Town Centre, where you'll find shops and cafes, as well as the historic Ringwood Meeting House. The Meeting House is a Grade 2 star listed building and was built in 1727. It is one of the best surviving 18th century Presbyterian meeting houses in the country, as it is largely unaltered and still retains its original box pews. It now houses a history centre. Ringwood is famous as the place where the Duke of Monmouth was imprisoned in 1685, after his defeat at the Battle of Sedgemoor. This was the last true battle fought on English soil, and was between the Protestant forces of the Monmouth Rebellion and Roman Catholic King James II. After the battle, the Duke disguised himself as a shepherd and hid in a ditch under an ash tree, but he was found and betrayed by a local woman. The Duke wrote a letter from Ringwood to the King, begging forgiveness. He was executed in London shortly after, and the woman who found him killed herself in remorse.
Is anyone getting on? John.
5 minutes next one. Driving, I'm not driving.
Fucking Ringwood. The Redwood.
Sam replied.
Huh?
Sam?
Yeah.
Double?
Oh yeah. Three men sound squicks.
How the fuck are you going to question it? Good morning. I'm sorry to hear this. They're great lads and I wish them the best of luck in the future. There you go.
X for these guns.
That's
1609.
So, but yeah, I read it the other day. I thought, yeah.
Salisbury buses here.
All right.
Film driver changeover. They haven't got the luxury tables. Old bus, yes. Where were we some years ago?
Oh, really? The vintage buses?
Oh yeah.
That's gone quick, isn't it?
That's like yeah. I know it's. Well, I think that was vintage bus. It's not looking around, and that is.
Oh, dear me. You both got your iPads on low battery, have you?
Yeah.
That's good.
Takes them a good few minutes to change.
Well, they don't just jump on it, they've got to put their number in the machine and stuff, haven't they?
No.
Huh?
Oh, no, we won't be changing drivers. That's the X3 was due for a change. Oh, Fidelity's allowing people on. They're all getting close. On it. Let's do it the other one. Stop that. Got back in. Is it still Andrew? Yeah. Yeah. I bet it sounds bad. Busy on the X footy, it's might as well we're off.
more.
The New Forest is a world capital for wildlife. It's a rich mosaic of woods, heathland and wetlands, fringed by an undeveloped coastline. Much of the wildlife here has been shaped and enhanced by careful management, including the grazing by the famous free-roaming animals. Such a special place needs special care. And there are some extra things to remember when we all enjoy the New Forest. These are summarized in the New Forest Code, a simple list of the ways to help look after the forest, from keeping to the tracks to avoid disturbing rare birds that nest on the ground, to not feeding the ponies, and leaving the barbecue at home to reduce the risk of wildfires. Look out for the code in publications and on social media and websites.
It's a nice street. I was talking to the driver while you was gone to the castle sheep. Yeah.
The open water to our right is called Blashford Lakes. You can spot all sorts of birds here. These former gravel pits are now a valuable nature reserve, attracting large numbers of wildfowl, such as gadwalls and goosanders during the winter. You can also see herons and egrets and the many bird hides at the site. The secretive bittern is an unusual winter visitor too. The bittern is a beautiful large bird and one of the rarest in the country. It was in this area, after the Battle of Sedgemoor in 1685, a local lady called Alice Lyle gave refuge to two wanted men who were escaping the battle. When her home, Moyles Court, just on the other side of the lakes, was raided, the men were found and Alice was arrested. She was sentenced to be burned at the stake, but received a late reprieve. Unfortunately for her, the sentence was only reduced to beheading. She is buried at St. Mary's Church in Ellingham. The Alice Lyle pub in Rockford is named after her. containing the lakes was used as an airfield during the Second World War. During the late summer of 1941, RAF Ibsley was the location for the flying sequences for the classic film First of the Few, starring David Niven, which tells the story of the development of the Spitfire. Actual squadrons based there took part in filming between missions. The road here runs alongside the winding River Avon, and the causeway across the wildlife-rich floodplain on your left is Harbridge. Look across the fields to the right. Here the land rises to Gourley Hill and the start of the open landscapes of the New Forest. This area was once the stomping ground of naturalist, artist and archaeologist Heywood Sumner. Sumner lived in a place called Cuckoo Hill in the first half of the 20th century. He loved observing the different seasons in the forest and the beauty of the changing landscape.
Here, on the northern side, we have long rolling hills of heather, fern and furze, worn into 5 parallel ridges and furrows by streams that trickle in dry and rush in wet weather down the gravelly courses to the broad valley of the Avon. Here and there are thickets of holly, thorn, yew and crabapple. Here and there are old woods of oak, beech, yew, holly, thorn and whitebeam. Here and there are enclosures of Scots fir, oak and sweet chestnut. But the main features of our side of the forest are heather uplands, winding moorlands, streams and scattered woods.
shortly be arriving in Fordingbridge, a great place to stop for lunch or a picnic in the Riverside Park. Don't forget you can also enjoy special discounts at many attractions, shops and cafes when you show your New Forest tour ticket. The famous painter Augustus John lived and painted in Fordingbridge during the last 31 years of his life. A commemorative statue of the artist stands beside the town's historic bridge. By the 1920s, John was Britain's leading portrait painter, painting among others Lawrence of Arabia, Thomas Hardy, and George Bernard Shaw.
Now, that same bus again. That was that same bus again, now it's free. What's the driver doing?
He's telling the old lady.
What?
Telling the old lady what bus. I think she was trying to get on this.
Unless she's got a bus pass and not accepted.
I think it's a different bus that she wants. So he's got to tell her.
Oh, unless it's the X3 she wants.
But it's nice he's got on to help with that.
All drivers should do that. Some of them just drive away when they ask you when you ask them a question.
Still got to do the green route.
So I've had
Yeah,
someone
after-
actually where they just close their doors when I ask the question.
Welcome on board the New Forest Tour Red Route,
Probably the one you
exploring the wild west of the New Forest National Park.
Yeah, that was the one I put on. That's New Forest National Park.
From the top deck of the New Forest Tour, we can see many hedges on the side of the road and in the surrounding fields. These boundaries are important for plants and animals and are used as natural corridors, providing connections between the many habitats that make up the New Forest National Park. Hedgerows are especially vital for our farm and woodland birds, and many rare or threatened creatures are dependent on them, such as dormice and the greater horseshoe bat. Over the last 70 years, thousands of hedgerows across England have been removed, neglected through loss of traditional skills or otherwise affected by more intensive farming. But things are changing. Recently, landowners and wildlife managers have worked together in this area to restore, enhance, and create hedges to help our wildlife and keep the traditional landscape for future generations. We'll shortly be arriving at Sandy Balls Holiday Village. Please make sure that you have all your belongings with you if you are leaving us here.
Do you know anyone?
Don't think so,
I
what?
told you. But it ain't the freaking kids. That's better anyway, the sun's out. That's warmer.
Sandy bottom swearing.
Yeah. Sending messages, pictures, told me all about it all the way over to London.
Welcome to the New Forest Tour Red Route. Our next main stop is at New Forest Wildlife Park, but please ring the bell if you'd like to hop off for a walk or a picnic along the way. We'll be passing through some of the best scenery in the New Forest National Park. Sit back and enjoy the view. The New Forest is world famous for its wetland wildlife. From source to sea, the ponds and bogs, rivers and streams, mudflats and salt marshes are all extremely special. The ponds of this area hold an amazing secret. They are home to fairies. Not the fairies you might be thinking of, however, but the tiny fairy shrimp. These creatures live in rainwater ponds that appear during the autumn. The ponds often dry up completely in summer, but the eggs are there waiting for the rain to return, bringing the fairies back to life. The New Forest is one of the only places they live in the country. Rare wetland wildlife in the New Forest, such as the fairy shrimp, rely on clean, unpolluted water. Help to keep our waters clean by following the New Forest Water Code. The open forest is generally poor land for growing crops, but people have always used the forest in a variety of ways. People who lived near the forest could use common rights attached to land they lived on, to make a simple living. Common rights included the right of marl, which was for digging clay. The right of estover allowed you to collect firewood. Nowadays, there are two common rights which are still widely used. The right of pasture is grazing of the forest by the famous ponies, donkeys, and cattle. The right of mast is where pigs are let loose to hoover up all the acorns and beech nuts in the autumn. This stops the other animals from getting sick from gorging on too many acorns. The pigs aren't affected, however. The spectacular land around you, called Ashley Walk, was arranged for testing bombs in World War II. It's hard to imagine that the forest once echoed to the sounds of massive explosions. Two types of Barnes-Wallis bouncing bomb were tested on targets here. The Second World War's heaviest bomb, known as the Grand Slam, was nearby, leaving a crater 40 meters across and over 21 meters deep. Sides of us, you can see sweeping heathlands, ancient woods, and valleys. In the bottom of these valleys lie some of the most special places in the whole New Forest. These bogs, or valley mires, are rare and fascinating places where you can find mosses, carnivorous plants, dragonflies, and wading birds. Curlew, lapwing, and redshank are some of the very important populations of wading and ground-nesting birds that live out here on the open landscape. These birds rely on space to breed, nest, and feed undisturbed. So it's important, when out and about, to access the forest in a responsible way and keep to the tracks, whether you're on foot, bike, or horse.
want to be an open top as well.
It's actually large. It's on our onions. We've got shorts on.
He showed us all the switches in the cab.
We're travelling along the border between Hampshire and Wiltshire, and we will shortly pass over Telegraph Hill, the highest point in the New Forest, at 167 metres. It got its name because a naval semaphore-shuttered telegraph station was situated here, forming part of the communication line from London to Plymouth in the 19th century. Messages were relayed along the route between towers without the need for electricity. A message could cover the distance from London to here in around 60 seconds.
Really windy, it's on it.
That's it working's very windy, yes. Not to say I know to a great route driver when we get on not it's the second afternoon to it, it was great.
The village of No Man's Land, left from this crossroads, sits just outside the traditional boundary of the New Forest. Like many forest edge villages, it started life as hovels and squats before becoming more permanent. You can still find cob cottages made of earth and clay, several hundred years old. Walking is a wonderful way to experience the tranquility of the New Forest National Park and see it up close. Explore New Forest walks to take you into the woods, by sea, over heath, or by rivers and streams, with the freedom to ramble across unfenced land. From February to August, there may be signs asking people to avoid certain areas, to limit disturbance to rare breeding birds which nest on the ground. The best way to find walking routes is by downloading the free app. There are 27 routes with GPS navigation. It works without mobile phone signal too. Perfect for exploring the forest. Search for Walking App on the New Forest National Park Authority website. is the possible location for perhaps the oldest and most famous New Forest story of them all, the death of King William II, known as Rufus. In the 12th century, William of Malmesbury wrote,
The next day, he went into the forest, attended by a few persons. Walter Tyrrell remained with him, while the others were on the chase. The sun was now declining when the king, drawing his bow and letting fly an arrow, slyly wounded a stag which passed before him. The stag was still running. The king followed it a long time with his eyes, holding up his hand to keep off the power of the sun's rays. At this instant, Walter decided to kill another stag. Oh gracious God! The arrow pierced the king's breast.
was it an accident or murder? One supposed spot where the infamous incident took place is marked by the Rufus stone.
It's named after our neighbour.
Nearby Bignell House, that you can glimpse through the trees to our right, was the country retreat of Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of the Sherlock Holmes tales. Conan Doyle was a keen spiritualist. It is said that he used Bignell Wood to hold seances, and that local postmen refused to deliver mail to the door. He is buried in Minstead Churchyard. His historical novel, The White Company, was set in the 100 Years' War and featured the forest heavily. Famous geologist Charles Lyell spent much of his childhood at Berkeley Lodge. He is best known as the author of Principles of Geology, published in 1830, which popularized the idea that the Earth was shaped by slow-moving forces still happening today. Lyell was a close friend of Charles Darwin. Lyell was born in Scotland and the dramatic highlands and the New Forest both kindled his interest in the natural world. We will shortly arrive at Bartley Tin Church. This strange building was built in 1900. Before it was built, the people of Bartley had a very long walk to the nearest church in Copythorne. The building is thought to have been bought as a kit and consists of a timber frame, a pine floor, and corrugated iron cladding, painted dark woodland green. It's owned by a local trust and was restored for the millennium. cattle grid, we will be back in the grazed landscape of the open forest, with its scenic short grass and sculpted trees and bushes. The ancient and ornamental woodlands, as they are known, are valuable habitats for rare mosses and ferns, and for moths and a host of different beetles, which live in dead and decaying wood. Almost 2/3 of all insect species which exist in the UK can be found in the New Forest. It is also one of the best places for fungi in Britain, where every autumn you can spot the fly agarics and stinkhorns, panther caps and fairy rings, a whole host of both poisonous and edible. Fungi have a special relationship with the trees around them, and the New Forest's grazed woodlands are perfect for them. The area is so special for wildlife, therefore fungi collection is discouraged. Are fungi plants or animals? Well, neither. They have a kingdom all to themselves. They are a vital ingredient in the natural cycle of the forest, helping rot down the wood and recycle nutrients back into the soil. These woods need careful management by Forestry England, and so any wood and dead trees are left for the wildlife, unless there are safety concerns. Until the middle of the 19th century, the New Forest also had a tradition of the involvement of fairies in everyday life. Writing in 1862, the forest historian John Wise said,
"Here in the forest still dwell fairies. The mischievous sprite Lawrence still holds men by his spell and makes them idle. If a peasant is lazy, it is proverbially said, Lawrence has got upon him, or he has got a touch of Lawrence. He is still regarded with awe, and barrows are called after him. Here too, in the forest, lives Shakespeare's Puck, a veritable being who causes the forest colts to stray. This tricksy fairy, so the forest peasant to this hour firmly believes, inhabits the bogs and draws people into them, making merry and laughing at their misfortunes."
We've just turned into Deer Leap Lane. No prizes for guessing where that name comes from. There are 4 main types of deer that live in the New Forest. They are most active in the autumn, in their breeding season, known as the rut, where the males call to and fight with each other to establish who gets the right to breed. The majestic red deer is the largest in the forest. Mainly in the south of the forest, you can find the closely related but non-native Sika deer. The fallow deer has wide spread out antlers and sounds like this. The smaller roe deer ruts in late summer and is common across the woods and fields of England. We'll soon be arriving at the New Forest Wildlife Park, where you can discover enjoyment for all ages and receive 20% off entry when you show your New Forest tour ticket. The family-run park is home to over 260 animals from 40 species, both native and exotic, including giant otters, bison, wolves, deer, and owls. Here you'll find friendly and knowledgeable keepers who offer daily talks and demonstrations about animal conservation and habitat protection. There are playgrounds and play equipment for children to enjoy, and a takeaway coffee shop for snacks and drinks.
No one wants to get on it today. Yeah, it's not been very busy this journey. The New Forest tour. Yeah. New Forest tour bus. The red roof. Yeah. Don't think it'll rain while we're on this one. Meant to rain tonight though. It's. Is it? Well, it might be alright tomorrow. I think the rain's meant to clear around 9ish tomorrow morning. Right. I think it's mainly during the night we're getting the rain. So the seats might be wet tomorrow. Nice. I reckon I reckon the wife lived in the hill. Headed back towards Lyndhurst.
On our right is Colbury Christchurch, an attractive late Victorian church by Benjamin Ferry, completed in 1870. The church interior has hardly changed since it was built, and there is a prominent lich gate at the entrance. This is a covered gateway with a roof at the entrance to an English-style church. The word lich comes from the Old English or Saxon word for corpse.
Get back early, up this bridge, I bet.
We'll soon be passing Ashurst Rail Station, also the stop for Ashurst Campsite. Immerse yourself in nature at a location which is perfect for families and people new to camping. Find out more at campinginthenewforest.com. nitrogen-based mineral was needed to make gunpowder and to tan leather. One way to make saltpeter was boiling up manure. At the time, England was dependent on foreign imports, and the race was on to find a homemade supply. One of the most famous forest landmarks, Bolton's Bench, was named after the 17th century Lord Warden of the Forest, the Duke of Bolton. It's just the other side of the trees on your left as we enter Lyndhurst. Nearby is the Lyndhurst Cemetery, where among others John Wise, one of the forest's most famous historians, was buried in 1890. He wrote of the forest,
Nowhere in England rise such oak woods, their boughs rhymed with the frostworthy lichens, and dark beech groves with their floor of red-brown leaves, on which the branches weave their own creative warp and woof of light and shade.
We're back in Lyndhurst.
we're now arriving in Lyndhurst, where you'll find plenty of places to eat and drink, or gather a picnic. Don't miss the New Forest Heritage Centre, right by the tour stop, which tells the story of the New Forest and its famous ponies. Admission is free. It's also a good place to pick up information and souvenirs, or even a refreshing drink from the cafe. You can change here onto the New Forest Tour Green Route to Lymington and Bewley. The Green Route tells the story of the forest, from Royal Hunting Park to National Park. Thank you for travelling with us today and helping to keep the New Forest special by reducing the number of cars, making life safer for the ponies and more peaceful for everyone.
Didn't have anyone getting on with him. That's it for Andrew's warning instead. And after lunch, took the green route. Yeah. That's remembering stuff. It won't be this one we get it. Green roads. It's not directly behind you, are we? No. Filmed all of this trip, I filmed. Andrew's always good. Who's trying to change it to blueberry? Thank you, Andrew.
It's alright, see you later.
Bye.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew.
It's alright,
So
see
does
you
it
later.
not have to be 2 consecutive days to ticket?
No, you use it on any 2 days. Enjoy yourself.
You able to beat the horn quickly?
Huh?
You able to beat the horn quickly? Thank you.
Sean's bus is back as well.
Yeah.
Do you know who's driving the other one?
I don't, mate, no.
No.
Thank you very much.
Alright, just enjoy yourself.
Hello. Right, wonder which one's loud. Do you reckon this horn's loud or that one?
You could ask him to beat theirs, he might let you keep it.
I thought you was going to get the blue bus.
You able to beat yours quickly, please?
Beep.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you.
It's a little duck horn.
Yeah. So what time you leaving?
5-2, same as that one.
Oh, same as that one.
I'll get confused. Right, I'm going. So where you off to now then?
Gonna have lunch and then get on the green route.
Gonna go.
Who's driving the other one?
Who's driving the other one?
Yeah.
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Do you come from Totten?
Yes.
Yeah. Does this bus have? Can this bus say blue route? No. Probably.
Yes, they can. They can say.
Oh, it's gonna say blue. That you are.
Not to confuse things. I am
It'll probably confuse people if this says blue and it's a Burley. This will say green. Both of them. Both of them leave at 5 past. No, 5-2. 5